Okay, so this is my review of the new FX on Hulu show, Devs, of episode 1 and 2. This was probably the show I was most excited for this year. I am a huge Alex Garland fan, and that really actually roots from his work with Ex Machina. That is a top 10 movie for me of all time, so I was really pumped about this. I love that he is writing and directing all of this. So episode 1, right off the bat, I really fell in love with the atmosphere really quick. There's something about having a main big set piece, and here it would be Forrest's daughter of the statue that's giant in the middle of everything. It makes for great establishing shots, and one that really stood out to me was actually in episode 2 when they show the statue at night and the moon is right next to her. I really like that. And it also is a nice base for the mystery. What's really going on here in this area? Like Ex Machina, I love that it is set in the woods, but it's mixed with high-tech, futuristic technology here. And you see that Nick Offerman here, who plays Forrest, the CEO of this company, Amaya, which is named after his daughter, who we learned in episode 2, has passed away. He, right now, you're getting the vibes almost of like a cult leader of this developer team that's got some serious demons and really doesn't have any sort of moral code left in him from his grief now of losing his daughter. He's a broken person. And you know someone's crazy when they're eating salad with their hands, which happens in episode 1, which I couldn't stop laughing because, again, you have to take out that you're watching Ron Swanson here with long hair. But understand that Nick Offerman was a comedic actor first, and he was great in shows like Deadwood. So this isn't a strange transition for him to do something very serious. It's just something that will probably take a lot of audience members eyes adjusting, including myself, to just accept that we're not watching Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec. But I think the casting choice works, especially because compared to other figures like Dr. Ford from Westworld, who's very similar, you can get a little more humor with someone like Offerman. There's a little more ways you can go with this character that might feel more fresh than being the classic Dr. Frankenstein character. But so far, just in these first 2 episodes, the best scenes come around the most interesting character in Forrest. And this is also where the cinematography looks the best, and where the music is just stellar. I love the score so far. It's got that insanely creepy sci-fi soundtrack, just like Alex Garland's other movie, Annihilation, did. So now, in episode 1, we see Sergei, who I actually really enjoyed the acting of, and I was really actually invested in his character. And then we see how it develops this relationship that we get to know early on with him and Lily. They both work at this company, but Sergei moves up fast, and now he's on the devs team. And that's why it just took me by surprise, because you're seeing everything through his eyes in the beginning. He's our main character, and then for him to get suffocated in a bag was insane. That was an awesome scene and a great thing to actually have in a premiere to shock you and get you kind of hooked and set the tone for where this show could go. However, once Sergei goes missing and you've killed this character, that then shifts the main character part to Lily. And this actress has been in other works of Alex Garland. She was also in the show Maniac, but her acting here was questionable. This starts from the moment she loses Sergei and doesn't know where he is. Just the first scene when she's waking up in the bed and is like, oh no, he's still missing. She says a lot of lines like this. I don't feel any emotion coming from her or her actually understanding what her character is fully saying. It feels completely robotic. And the only way you could justify it at this point in a show like this is maybe she's a robot. But I don't know what's going on with that. And that continues in episode 2 a lot, which I'll delve more into. But we also meet her ex in Jamie, who is a very likable character and can put his pride, as we see his character moves on through this show, away and try to do what's best for Lily in the end. And I love just also different types of music where we're getting like this Lord of the Rings, old church music in the back, or just music if you played Zelda as a kid when you're running through temples. That's what you're hearing in the show, which is really cool. I'm a sucker for a lot of that kind of stuff. And you see how cruel this devs team can be when Sergei catches on to this coding that they're up to something that he deems as bad, and he tries to escape, gets killed, and they frame it to Lily that he lights himself on fire in a suicide. And it's really messed up and makes Nick Offerman's character of Forrest really unlikable, because this is a man who should know best what grieving does to somebody. So it's just a griever causing someone else's grief now. But maybe he's just that evil that he knows how messed up it made him, and that he thinks it's fair that other people have to go through it. We'll see. But even to end this episode, the screaming of Lily here, she goes from acting robotic to going way over the top. It was cringy. But overall, episode 1, I would strongly give a 9.1. I thought it built mystery well to want to know what this devs team is up to. Again, the cinematography is outstanding. The production design is beautiful. I love the atmosphere they're building, and I'm excited about this character, Forrest. But Lily brings the score down a bit, and that's where we actually transition now, where the show as a whole kind of takes a dip in episode 2, which was surprising to me because this was also directed and written by Alex Garland. But the big problem you're seeing here with him really taking his first stab at a whole season of a show compared to just a movie is there's some trouble with the dialogue in the sense of there's a lot of big pauses. And it's almost like too realistic of talking, where it's like, why is this simple point taking 3 minutes to get to? A lot of these scenes in the show are just fat and they need to be just thinned out a bit. What sticks out in my mind is in episode 2 when Jamie is at Lily's apartment waiting for her to get there. Why are we even seeing a scene with Jamie waiting for Lily to get there to lead into a scene with Jamie and Lily in her apartment, just dragging out him telling her not to follow up on this Russian hacker contact? That's where it just feels odd. It's not as tight as it should be. But in episode 2, there's still some standout scenes. I did like the scene with Lily when she's on the phone with her mom, when she's dipping into this theme of grief here and loneliness, and how effective it was just showing her alone in her apartment, telling her mom she's with friends and that she has friends taking care of her. Very sad. And even this hacking scene was stretched out with Jamie, but it does give an interesting twist that even though Sergei has died, there's a lot more to his character we have to learn. Not so simple as he was on the surface, that he has connections to Russia and that he's basically a Russian spy. And sticking on that Russian storyline for a second, it is a weird scene where Lily meets that Russian contact that was found on that phone, Anton, because it just felt like a student film-esque scene that you would see in a sci-fi movie on the web. Again, just not great acting by Lily here. She says the line to Anton, "I don't believe you at all, even your name and his." This is some of the weirdest acting I've seen in a long time. I don't know. I've seen her on this stuff and she's fine. I don't know what's going on, if she's having a bad day on set or what, or she wasn't feeling the script, but she was not tapping into this character. And it feels too much that Anton was a plot device purely in this scene where he's just acting as the audience here, trying to catch up the information we have to Lily. And she just lead this scene that's almost unnecessary with Jamie and Lily about him telling her not to follow up with the Russian contact. This is where I felt my eyes start to close a bit and talking about these fat scenes that need to be trimmed down. And it makes me wonder if Alex Garland is just not used to, again, this episode by episode, spreading the ball out and script to interesting ideas, and enough interesting ideas that he's stretching out maybe a movie story. Let's hope not. And with this Russian storyline, it ends really weird because it's also a little ridiculous that Kenton, Forrest's security guy, just happened to be there when Anton was talking to Lily. Sure, you could say he was following her, but that's a really great job to catch him there in that secret hiding spot. And then this really weird chokeout scene between Anton and Kenton, and that even dragged out, if that's even possible, because they just kept going to it in slow-mo. It was just weird. And that's another weird thing. I'd love for you guys to explain this to me, but why in the beginning of the episode did they show for a second those two having this chokeout scene that would happen later on? I don't understand why that was in the opening montage. If someone could explain, please, because it's driving me insane. I don't get that choice. I dug the song, though, playing during this that happened in the beginning of the episode and at the end, the Congregation song by the band Low. It works, and it adds, again, to just Congregation, this culty vibe of these devs here and what's really going on and who you can trust. Maybe this Russian side's the more corrupt one. We don't really know yet. So they're doing a good job at setting up two kind of mysteries and not knowing who's good and bad here. But we do know, obviously, that Forrest has some evil ways about him, especially in killing Sergei. And what was interesting about his character in episode 2 is we see he lives in a normal house with this Subaru Outback, but this guy, like they say in this episode, is richer than God. But clearly this is because of his grief. This is where his daughter's bedroom was. He's that not over it that he won't even spend money to get a nice house just to stay there and wallow in it. And I also love when we're in with this devs group. I think that's when the show shines the most. And literally too, with this whole gold set, it reminds me of a Space Odyssey vibe in the end of that film, if you've seen it, of the kind of contraption they're in. I also dug the little humorous commentary Garland threw in here where Stewart is calling the girl on the devs team, Lyndon, not woke but comatose. Kind of showed you Garland's beliefs on that and how extreme we're getting with the woke culture. I thought that worked well, especially the reasons why Stewart thought she was being over the top. And that kind of shocked me, and I didn't even know how to feel about it, but I really dug it where we see on the screen what they're all looking at, this devs team. It's a 2,000-year projection with Christ on the crucifix with these two sinners behind him, this iconic moment in the Bible, and you wonder where this will go with religious themes and what the goal is of this team. Is it to project moments from the past to get the truth about life in general? That's where I'm thinking it's going, but we'll see. I'd love to hear all your theories. But you see, Sergei was asked if he was religious in his interrogation. They made a big point of that, so there is, again, that thing that's going to keep making you come back, and that's that solid mystery here, giving you a little but not too much. And then we get to see Nick Offerman show some of his acting chops off here when he uses the projection to look at his daughter. But the weight of Lily's scenes not being great and her acting being subpar in this show so far, and the weird pacing of the show, and again, a lot of scenes just feeling really fat and just empty spaces in them. Second episode was a big drop down for me, and I'm gonna give episode 2 a 7.7. It was a clunker, but I'm still in. I'm a sucker for Alex Garland's work. I love anything with that crazy music he's got going on. It's out there, it's fun, it's also dark, and it's got mystery, so I'm still in. I think there's a high ceiling for this show, clearly. I'm interested to see who's watching it, what you guys saw the first 2 episodes, any theories you got. Please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews of Devs. I'll be doing every episode. I also do celebrity interviews with the stars themselves, so you don't want to miss those. And please follow me at Steve Varley1 on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And I'll see you next time.